Hello and welcome everyone to another series of Heartfulness Wellness webinar. My name is Kriti and I'm counseling psychologist and I'll be the moderator for today's webinar. The grass is greener where you heal, emotions and growing into you. I am truly grateful for everyone who has joined today for a heartfelt conversation on this mental health awareness month. Today, we'll mostly be talking about young adults and their emotions, their struggles and their healing journeys, and how they can grow out of it, not in spite of the pain, but through it. So, we often think healing as a destination, something we have to arrive at, or something very far away. But in truth, it begins exactly where we are, with our own stories, with our own emotions, with the parts that's growing into us. So now I have the pleasure to welcome our speaker, Ms. Kalpana Sai. Ms. Kalpana Sai, she's a health psychology counselor with experience spanning clinical, wellness, and fitness oriented mental health settings across India, Canada, and US. She holds a master's in health psychology from the University of Hyderabad and is currently pursuing her MS in counseling psychology, clinical rehabilitation at Alabama A&M University. Kalpana specializes in supporting individuals through challenges related to stress, motivation, emotional well-being, and self-efficacy, particularly in context of health and lifestyle changes. She has worked with diverse population in both individual and group settings, with a focus on promoting mental wellness and building emotional insight. Welcome, Ms. Kalpan. So, I would like to start or begin by asking you something about which is very real and immediate in the lives of young adults like us, the juggle between our everyday challenges and mental health. So the world around us is moving fast, and with it comes the career pressure, the identity confusion, the body image struggle, and the constant hum of social media. So, what, according to you, are some common struggles faced by young adults today, especially around the career, identity, and lifestyle? And how would you say that these affects our mental health?
So, first of all, thank you so much. Thank you for having me on this webinar. And thank you all to whoever is tuning in. Today's webinar is very much technical in nature, but I'm kind of simplifying this and making it very easy for all of us to kind of understand because some of these topics might be really new for us. So it might sound like I'm just talking about common sense, but there's a lot of theoretical knowledge and research done on what I'm sharing with you today. If you have any questions about where I'm getting this information from, any research papers that you want to read more on this, you can kind of, I guess, comment on this video and I'll be in touch when, you know, this is live and when we're sharing this webinar. So, one of the biggest struggles that young adults essentially are 18 to 35. And young adults right now at this stage are suddenly moving into the career space, suddenly moving from theoretical education, like, their degrees, school, and moving into practical exposure, which is stepping into the career field through internships, through jobs, through entry level occupations. So, one of the biggest struggles that young adults experience is career uncertainty and pressure. In your late teens and early 20s, you're expected to somehow figure everything out in your life, pick a career, choose a direction, and stick to it. But for most young adults, that process is really confusing and stressful. Whoops, let me just mute my notifications. so, yeah. So, essentially, what this could look like is you might feel unsure of what you're really good at. You might worry about making the wrong choice. You might be scared of failing or disappointing your family. You might compare yourself to others who seem to have it all together, and social media doesn't make that easier. All of this can lead to decision paralysis, which is essentially the inability to make a quality decision or any decision. It can also lead to self doubt and a lot of anxiety about your future. So, this is actually normal for your age. And if you want, you should kind of refer to this theory by Donald Super. And he talks about how it is very normal for young adults to experience this kind of confusion in this stage of life. Because here, your roles are to answer the question, who are you? Your role is to explore realistic career options. Your role is to align with your values, strengths, and goals and figure out what they are. And your role is to try different roles through internships, part time work, any kind of experience that you have. So, if you feel stuck in your career, if you feel generally like you don't know what you're doing, that's kind of the point. And I want to stress this because a lot of us feel like we have to have it figured out, but you don't, especially in your, 18, especially in your 20s, when you're 18 and getting into your 20s, you are supposed to take action, but where that goes, it's up to you. And exploring is okay. So, yeah, that is on the career front. Because the kind of impact that this has on your mental health is when career identity remains unclear. Career identity, I mean, who you are, what do you do, what do you like doing, what's your line of work. When that remains unclear, it can destabilize your sense of purpose. It can destabilize your direction, your self worth. How worthy do you see yourself? And also, it increases your vulnerability to anxiety and depression. Now, it's easy for me to say, oh, I wish we didn't live in a world where what you do doesn't matter. I wish we could say it doesn't determine your worth, but sadly it does. But also, having a career gives you a sense of purpose, drive, and motivation. So it has its pros and cons. But my essence with career is it's okay to feel stuck. And if you're here, even if you're beyond 35, honestly, feeling stuck and lost is important for you to find yourself eventually. So everything has a purpose. So let's talk about identity. Identity is basically, in its definition, is how do you define yourself? Who are you? What type of person are you? What are your likes? What are your dislikes? What is your general ability to handle stress? Any question about yourself is what forms your identity. Who is Kalpana? Who is Kriti? So this isn't just about career. This is about your
Yes.
personality, your values, your culture, your gender, your beliefs, your goals. This is a time when you're really pulling all of the pieces of yourself together and making sense of your place in the world. You're just coming out of adolescence where you're having this immediate growth spurt, neurologically, physically, psychologically. So now you're kind of defining who you are. But what happens when your identity feels unclear, right? When
Yes,
you have
yes, yes.
figured out who you are, when you
Hmm.
or if you feel pulled in different directions, it can lead to things like imposter syndrome, which is essentially feeling like a fraud, feeling like your success you just got by fluke, and people are going to figure out that you're actually not worth all of the things you've achieved. It can also lead to low self-trust, you know, constantly second guessing yourself or looking for others to validate your choices. It can also lead to inner conflict, feeling torn between who you are and who you want to be and who you think you should be. Exploration without pressure is essential in this age, and forming your identity is iterative, not instant. So, other things like making friends, romantic relationships, getting sucked into unhealthy paths like addiction, these are all the things that could happen if you for a long time feel lost in who you are. Now, the whole reason of me saying this is not to scare anyone. The whole reason I'm talking about this is to help you understand that you're not alone. This is very human. This is very normal for you to feel this way. You don't have to continue to feel this way. I'm saying this to help anyone who's experiencing this feel more accepting of where they are and okay with feeling the way they are. Um, and so after that, you can move towards change. In terms of lifestyle, um, we're gonna dive deep into this in the following in the course of the webinar. But with lifestyle, we suddenly are prioritizing a lot of other things in our lives, right? Like relationships, like careers. We don't experience the immediate effects of poor health choices in our age as we would compared to if we were in our 40s or something. So, for example, there's this normal humor culture where they talk about how if you were to go out and party as a 20-year-old, you wouldn't feel that exhausted as you would if you were 40 or 30 and doing the same thing. So the kind of physical habits, health related habits that we have is so important. But a lot of our lifestyles are more sedentary right now. We are not getting enough sleep as we should. So our lifestyle also poses a lot of risks. We are at a stage of vulnerability where the kind of habits that we set for ourselves in our young adulthood does help us with our life later on. So, yeah, this is just a blanket overview on the kinds of issues that the young adult typically feels, but there are many more. They're not, and there are many more great things that we're doing, but this is just to scratch the surface.
So, as Ms. Kalpana has shared beautiful insights on the first pointers of career identity and, resolving the lifestyle, let's move on to the next topic that touches all of us, something as love, heartbreak, and healing. So, Ms. Kalpana, whether it's a romantic disappointment or a toxic bond or something unresolved emotional pain, so these are something that deeply shakes our, sense of self. So what do you suggest? How can somebody navigate through that and begin the healing process?
Yeah, well, um, romantic related heartbreak or anything related to romantic relationships that end
Mhm.
is very, very difficult for us to kind of move past, at least for most people. And the situation is completely different if the person you were with was abusive in any nature or manipulative. And everyone is manipulative to some degree, but I'm saying in a very toxic way. Like if people experience narcissistic abuse, etc., or physical abuse in their relationships, it is very traumatizing. It's very difficult. And even for like non toxic relationships, it's still really hard. And again, this is where our teens, our adolescents, our young adulthood is where we're experimenting with this part of us that is looking for companionship, either short term, long term, whatever it is, right? So it does get very heavy when those end. And the reason is because you are forming an active attachment with someone that could be close as family, but is not your family. And as kids, we're biologically programmed to be attached to our parents. But here we're actually forming a active attachment with people that are not our family in the world, but do become our family. And when that ends, you can imagine how devastating it can be. So we're going to talk about what to kind of do to recover from a the ending of a relationship or a breakup of a relationship. This could be anyone. It could be someone that you were seeing for 3 months, someone that you wanted to marry, someone that you were just casually going on dates with, whatever it is. But the first thing that is important to do is to validate your emotional pain. You need help. This hurt you. You're having a wound, right? Look at it like you have a burn on your skin. And it's so bad that it hurts for most parts of your day. You can't move your arm because it hurts whenever you try to move it. You need help. And imagine if you're a right hander, you can't write. So, if we were to use the same kind of care, if we were to get help for a wound, why not for a mental health or a psychological wound or an emotional wound? So, take help when if people offer it. You know, if friends say, "Hey, can I check in on you every day? Can I bring you something?" If you're comfortable with your parents to talk about this. Some of us may not be, but if you are, get help. Ask your mom and dad to help you with a few meals. Ask them to just come and give you company. Ask your friends to come. If not, just seek any kind of help you can, but also let yourself take help. You're hurt. And take care of yourself because you need some help. So that's the first point. Validate. Say, hey, this hurt. This is hurtful. I'm having a little pain right now. because that's when you build acceptance and your brain stops having a stress response. We're going to get into that in a little bit. Number two, keep switching between letting yourself be sad and experiencing the pain and take a break. So, for example, if you find yourself crying about this for half an hour, 40 minutes, once you feel a little bit okay, pause, take a walk, pause, go do the dishes, pause, distract yourself. Because we want to have a balance between resting and going through the pain. Rest and going through the pain. Keep switching between these two because then you're not going to, number one, go completely sad and go on one extreme where you just can't get out of this dark hole. Two, you're not distracting yourself from their pain and just going on your life, like going on about your life like everything is okay. So switch between these two. Number three, spend some time being single after, an ending of a relationship. Sometimes it's easy and it's tempting and it's almost desperate to jump into another relationship or start distracting yourself by overworking or, consuming substances like alcohol or drinking or indulging like overeating when you don't want to be eating, but you just need to kind of distract yourself, right? Or it could also be distracting yourself by binge watching TV or binge watching, social media or being on your phone for longer. All of this is okay in moderation. Enjoy it, like indulge, but notice when you're distracting yourself. Spend some time being single. Notice when you're distracting yourself, over distracting yourself from what's going on. And the importance of being single, especially after, a relationship, it gives you time to think and reflect about what the relationship was. It gives you time to take away lessons from that relationship. Number three, it helps you find yourself after a relationship ends. And also, it helps you kind of build your own identity and build your heart after something this stressful and traumatic has ended. So be single for some time and let yourself be there. And the fourth one is to pour into your own self and expand your horizon. Start indulging in hobbies. Start doing new things that you previously wouldn't say yes to. And essentially, the rule is to say yes more than you say no. If a friend is calling you out to do like this painting workshop, do it. If they're calling you out for a walk and you're not the walk type of person, do it. If you come across a new album soundtrack or a music album that you want to listen to, do it. Just do new things, expand your horizon. And the last thing is to look at this experience not like a loss. Don't look at this experience like it's a mark on your self worth that, oh no, I got rejected. That means I'm a terrible person. I got rejected or this ended. This means I'm never going to find love. No, like you have a long life ahead, and this does not mean that you're never going to find love. So, yeah, that's a few things. But the last and most important thing is to not rush yourself through the process. The more you try to rush it, saying, oh no, everyone is moving on more than I am. I should move on quickly. Like, I shouldn't. Why am I still so sad? The more you are worried about feeling sad about this relationship ending, the more your brain thinks, oh, Kalpana's sadness is a threat. Oh, she's viewing this as a bad emotion to feel. When that happens, your brain's stress response increases. So it's like a cycle, right? You think it's bad, your brain perceives it as a bad experience, then it increases its stress response, which increases stress hormones in your body, and it puts you in that cycle where you can't get out of it. So it is okay for you to feel sad, even though it is the most painful thing. It's okay. And don't rush yourself into it. So don't rush yourself through it. I mean, yeah. And just start by doing the next best thing. Just get out of bed. Maybe do your laundry. Maybe make your bed. Maybe just cook a little breakfast. Just start there and build up on the next thing.
I think you have put it very beautifully. Like, to summarize, you first said that get help. whoever it is, if you're comfortable with the parents, family, friends, just get help. Then validate, right? Validate your emotions, your pain, right? Say that you're feeling sad.
Mm-hmm.
And I think then you talked about to spend some time alone, like pour yourself to certain hobbies, to certain aspects that you never did. Explore something new. And I think, yes, it is okay to be, sad. So now let's move on to something different. That would be,
Mm-hmm.
let's take a step inward and, understand the inner world, something that many young adults carry silently, and that would be chronic shame. So, unlike guilt, which tells us that we did something wrong, but same shame tells us that we are something wrong, right? So, what are your thoughts on this, Ms. Kalpana?
Well, I was just going to start on that essentially we've heard the word shame, right? In different kinds of contexts. Oh, body shaming. You must feel shameful. You should feel ashamed, you know? Those are the kind of sentences that we hear this word in. Chronic shame, I mean, let's take away chronic for a moment. Shame is essentially the feeling that you are fundamentally unworthy. You are fundamentally flawed, and that is a bad thing. And feeling shameful is just the experience of a part of you or who you are in general is just wrong. You're doing something wrong. And this is not the same as guilt because guilt is very situation specific. It is I did something bad. Shame is I am bad. Guilt is you assessing and evaluating a specific action of yours. Oh my God, I'm battling a sneeze. um, you are assessing a specific action. Shame is just a general judgment of who you are as a person in completion, right? Guilt is based on, morals, what's right and wrong. It motivates us to take action towards remedifying our mistakes. It helps us be accountable. Guilt helps us repair, apologize, and correct our actions. And it leads to a strengthened moral compass and also leads to growth, right? But shame is completely different. It makes you really self-conscious. It immobilizes you. It doesn't allow you to move in your world. It leads to you withdrawing into your own self. You hide within your own mind. You are more easy to attack your own self. The outcome of this is that it leads to low self esteem, which is basically not thinking you're worthy of a person as a person. It also leads to chronic self criticism. And we're going to talk about that. So, essentially, chronic shame isn't just feeling bad about yourself once in a while. It is like a deep, ongoing belief that something is wrong with you. It's kind of like a back current in your mind that keeps going that, hey, there's something wrong with you. You're messing up. You're being flawed. You're not doing good enough. You're not perfect. Oh my God, you made a mistake. That's the worst. So, you might carry this invisible feeling that you are not enough, not lovable. You're always messing up, even if no one says it out loud. And this kind of starts early on in life. For example, and this is not a blanket statement that oh this is what you experienced, but these are just some tendencies that we're noticing. You may have caregivers who were cold, overly critical, or not emotionally present. You may have been bullied, left out, or made to feel different. You may be getting messages from society, culture, social media, or media that you don't measure up based on your looks, based on your background, based on your gender, based on your success. You may have experienced trauma or neglect or emotional wounds that never got addressed. Or you may have grown up in high pressure environments where love and approval, where you got love and approval only if you made great achievements or if you were a perfect child or a perfect person. But guilt is something that you did. I made a mistake. Shame is about who you are. So, When shame becomes chronic, it can eat away at your confidence and keep you stuck in self doubt. And I want to be very transparent that this is something that many of us experience. I've experienced, and I sometimes still do experience. But we're going to talk about how to kind of move through that. Now, I want to highlight how this can affect your mental health, right? It fuels depression and anxiety, and it fuels a lot of addictive behaviors, like people who experience addiction, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, or food addiction, eating disorders. You might feel low, helpless, or on edge all the time. And sometimes you seek other kinds of external sources to run away from that feeling or to deal with that feeling. And I empathize with that. It causes you to disconnect from people, from your goals, and even your own emotions because being vulnerable feels unsafe. It makes you harder on yourself. You don't feel sure of who you are or what you want. This is connecting us to our identity conflict in the first part of our webinar. It can also lead to harmful coping habits, like we discussed, and it makes your relationships harder. It's tough to set boundaries or trust other people. And sometimes you may find yourself sabotaging your own relationships. So yeah, that's that's a little bit about shame. I did go more general, but if you have any questions on how it specifically makes relationships harder, you can let us know in the comments. Yeah.
Think yes, we can do that. So you have pretty much, very beautifully like put together what guilt is and what shame is. So guilt is all about the morals, as you talked about, what's right, what's wrong. But shame is more, that is deep going within yourself, like it's ongoing belief. Right? So it fuels depression, anxiety, addiction, eating behaviors, and it, affects a relationship as well. So I think yes, you have beautifully covered that aspect. Right? So if we move on to the another topic, I think this is something you also talked about that we would be talking in it. So let's reflect on, growth and compassion. That it's like there's a delicate dance between self-love and transformation. So how can one balance, self acceptance with striving for personal growth without falling into the spiral of self criticism?
Um, Chronic shame does affect our ability to make change. Even if we don't experience chronic shame, negative self talk can really get in our way of moving forward. And it's basically simple. One of the biggest things I've worked with clients is moving beyond the black and white, that you don't have to be over militant about your growth, nor do you have to be complacent about your progress. You don't have to overindulge, and just forget about all of your goals. There's a middle ground. But a lot of us, and including myself, I used to believe that growth was just either you grow and you be super disciplined, you have to be perfect, don't make mistakes, or forget about your goals. Indulge. Just don't care about them. It's okay. Hey, we don't need our goals. We're good where we are right now. And that's completely okay. I mean, it's fine, but I'm going to talk to you about a third alternative. So, one of the most powerful things a young adult can learn is that you don't have to be harsh on yourself to grow. Real, lasting growth happens when it's rooted in self understanding, not self judgment. And a lot of the self judgment is that chronic shame coming as a character in your mind and saying, oh my God, you're not perfect. You made a mistake. If you're not perfect, then you shouldn't be doing this at all. And that is that inner narrative that says, oh, we're black and white. We're black and white. That, oh, we make awesome progress. No, we forget about our goals. So many people believe that pushing themselves with criticism, right? I need to get it together. I should be better by now. I have to do this like 100% perfect. They think that will motivate change, but research shows the opposite. Self criticism increases anxiety around your goals, it increases burnout and the fear of failure, while self compassion builds resilience and motivation. So, what is self compassion? Self compassion is essentially extending kindness and help towards yourself when you need it. Empathy is self empathy is understanding your own feelings, right? Empathy to other people is understanding someone else's feelings and being in their position, putting yourself in their shoes. But self compassion is acting on that empathy, extending some help and assistance and care to someone else. So, self compassion is extending care, understanding, help to your own self. So, I fundamentally believe that, and it takes a while to get here, but it's possible that you have everything you need to get your goals. But when you criticize yourself, think of it like a critical coach that's on the field. What kind of coach would you like if you miss a goal? Would you like a coach that comes and says, "Oh my God, I knew it. I knew you were going to miss that goal and I expected nothing more out of you. You're so imperfect. You are a terrible player. I don't know why I even put you on this team." Would you want that? Or would you want another kind of coach that says, "Hey, that was a pretty messy goal. How are you doing? Disappointed? Yeah, I'm a little disappointed too because we trained for this, but I know this happens. Things happen on the field, even though no matter how much we practice, it's okay. Do it again. Try again. I believe in you." You notice how, which coach would you want, Kriti? Tell me.
I think the second word would be better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The second one I want to highlight, it doesn't make you feel like, oh, you should just, okay, quit the game. Go, 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 go to the bleachers. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I know that was hard. Yeah, yeah, let's just forget about this game. No. The second coach said, "No, let's go back onto the field, but I believe in you. You're going to do this, and even if you don't, it's fine. Just do the best that you can. I believe in you." Right? They still pushed you towards change, but from a space of respect, right? So a lot of people come and ask me, "How do you be kind to yourself?" Right? I think the first place is, if you can't be kind, at least be respectful. Talk to yourself a little respectfully. I believe in you. Come on, let's go. So change is possible, but if you think criticizing yourself and being hard on yourself to get to your goals is how you can do it, I mean, yeah, it might be successful, but everything might come crashing down after that. Or you might not be able to be consistent with your goals. Um, because you're going to always rely on that inner critic, that negative voice in your head to fuel your growth, not actual self confidence and self belief that you have everything you need right now and you can be better. You're worthy as you are, and you can go get those goals. You're worthy as you are, and you can go ace that exam. You're worthy as you are, and you can go get your goals. So that's how I think we can balance self acceptance with striving for personal growth, which is be uncomfortable with accepting who you are and also wanting to change. That is a never ending battle. Does that make sense?
It very much makes sense, I think. And the example was really very beautiful. The way you have put, across two coaches, which one would
Mm-hmm.
you want? It
Mm-hmm.
clearly explains like what self-criticism can do. And when you
Yeah.
show self-compassion or when you show compassion to other, what the change will happen, very subtle and very empathetic, if
Yeah.
that's, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So coming to the end of the webinar series, I would just like to ask you some tools and tips and takeaways. You can share certain practical tools or, daily practices to cultivate emotional resilience, or how you can build your emotional well-being, or what to
Mm-hmm.
do when you're stuck in a, spiral of shame and you
Yeah.
think nothing can change this, or my future is blank. So what do you suggest we should go ahead
Yeah.
with?
Um, I let's since we were talking about shame, let's start there. When I say shame, I mean negative thoughts, right? Again, these are also different because negative thoughts can be also like there's more to that topic. But when you feel like you're stuck in a spiral of negativity and you feel really heavy about the thoughts that you're having, the first thing is to understand that thoughts are just thoughts. They do not reflect reality. Not all the time. They don't. And two, if you're feeling really anxious and heavy about how your mind and how you're feeling, feelings also don't last forever. My favorite way to put this is, if happiness isn't permanent, then how is sadness permanent? So if you don't feel happy all the time, then how can you expect to feel sad all the time? So
That's very
feelings
true.
come like waves. So if you want to build emotional resilience, it's to understand that if you're experiencing a wave of heavy emotions, it's okay to feel that way, and it's not going to last forever. And what you're thinking, it doesn't have to reflect reality. These are just experiences, neurological experiences that you're having. Now, if you're having chronic patterns of thoughts, yes, I'd look into that, but just because you think you're the most embarrassing person in the planet does not mean that's true. Just because you think that you said something wrong in that conversation doesn't mean that it happened. You'd be surprised at how many perspectives people hold and how many misunderstandings there are.
I think I
So,
get that.
just because you think XYZ doesn't mean other people are thinking XYZ. So, it doesn't mean XYZ is the truth. So that's one. But the first thing is to notice that. Start practicing, start witnessing your mind, having an observer's mindset. This is something that we talk about in Heartfulness a lot as well, which is start observing your state. And even in mindfulness, start observing your state like you're just a witness, like you're a camera that's capturing what's happening in Kriti and Kalpana. What are the thoughts? Kalpana is having the thought that she is going to fail the exam. Kalpana is having the thought that her partner hates her, for example, right? Start putting your thoughts like Kalpana has a thought or I have a thought instead of, oh my God, I'm going to fail the exam. This allows you to create some distance between your thoughts and observe them. Then it gives you some time to evaluate, okay, is it likely that that might happen? Because I did study all the chapters. I am pretty thorough. Like, why do I think I'm going to fail? I might not get an A, but I might not fail. So, um, create distance from your thoughts and emotions. Little distance. Kalpana's feeling, or I am experiencing sadness, instead of I'm sad. Like, that's it. That's who I am. So it's you plus your thought, you plus your emotion, not you are the emotion, you equal to emotion. So that is my second tip. But the third one is to create a character out of your negative thoughts. If you notice that there's a certain kind of pattern that you notice that of the kind of thoughts that you have, make it a character. For me, it's the jackal. Some people have it as, some of my clients call it the critical coach. Some people call it the mouse. So basically, when you notice certain thoughts coming up, right? Oh, like thoughts that are really self critical, you know that, hey, it's not me, it's this little character that's in my head. And I don't mean this in a very, because it might feel scary to talk about, oh, voices in your head, but
Yeah.
it's just noticing that this is a character. This is not you. You don't have to believe this about yourself. It is someone coming in and telling you something about yourself. It's not just coming from you. So I wish I had more time to talk about what this is, but I hope this makes sense that create a character out of that negative voice so that you're able to practice more mindfulness and noticing when it comes in. Oh my God, okay, this is Jenny coming back and telling me that I'm worthless. This is my jackal coming and telling me that I'm going to fail. I'm not going to make it. It helps you notice that, okay, create some space, that this is just what jackal says. Doesn't mean that I have to believe it. So, besides that, meditating really, really helps in centering yourself, in centering your mind. It's great for cognitive functioning, it's great for your brain health, let alone your stress response. But meditating is so great in helping you connect to something within yourself. It's great for improving mental health and cognitive health. Besides that, journaling is awesome. My version of journaling involves creating a WhatsApp group that's just for me, or having an app on my phone or a notes app or anything. I use WhatsApp because just it's quick access. I don't have to scroll through my notes and find the journal, or look for my physical journal. I just keep a group on WhatsApp and I just journal whenever I need to. I write, hey, I observe what I'm feeling, what I'm needing, what I am experiencing. That helps you build more mindfulness and an observer's mindset. Um, this can help because self awareness is one of the biggest tools on building emotional resilience. How are you going to change something if you don't know what it is, right? So,
Exactly.
so self awareness is great for emotional resilience, and that can come through talking about your mind or yourself with people that you trust, journaling about it, meditating about it, whatever it is that you need. So self awareness is great. Having conversations with friends and family about who they think you are. And that doesn't have to be who you think you are, but just gaining perspective from people you trust. The next one is breath work. Um, breath work, breathing, physically moving your body. This there's a lot of research on breath work, specifically on how it stimulates your vagus nerve and how it calms down your body when you are feeling overwhelmed and stressed. Because if you can't change your thoughts, you can change the way you breathe. Because when we're more stressed and anxious, our breathing patterns change, our heart rate does change. So if you can't start by shutting down those thoughts, at least start by shutting down your body. By that I mean relaxing your body. So movement also, a lot of research shows that it releases hormones in your brain that help you feel motivated. It helps you feel general pleasure and happiness. Not just about working out or moving your body, but about life in general. So, exercise is one of the biggest things that is recommended for people that experience depression. So, moving your body in any shape or form every day, or at least regularly in a week, is so great for your mental health. The next one is sleep. Sleep is so, so, so important because it helps with discipline. When you get less sleep, the parts of your brain that can resist indulgences also reduces when you get, yeah, lesser sleep. So that's one. Less sleep affects your mood. Less sleep affects your brain's capability to flush out toxins in your brain. Getting quality sleep is very important, especially um, within reasonable hours. Like getting sleep from 3 to like 11 or 12 is different from getting sleep from 8 or 9 or 10 p.m. to like 7 in the morning. So 6 hours sleep is not the ideal. 7 to 8, adults need 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and women need 7 to 9 hours of sleep. So get quality sleep. And the last thing, but not the least, there's so many out there, but I'm just going to keep it brief. Invest in your social relationships. Build quality relationships. Hang out with people that make you feel nice. Hang out with people that make you feel safe, comfortable, people you can be yourself with. And if you haven't found that community for yourself still, start where you can. That's okay. And building relationships is a whole other topic in itself, but invest in your family relationships, your friend relationships, again, with people you feel safe, comfortable, and joyful with. So, having social connections is one of the biggest predictors of mental health and also longevity. And yeah, that is one. Let me see if I missed on anything. That's kind of it. And
Yeah.
yeah, what I do want to end in is that your negative thoughts aren't you. In life, it is normal or natural. Let's not say normal. It's natural as humans to experience highs and lows and highs and lows. And it's like a season, and nothing lasts forever. And if you find yourself struggling with any certain area or concern for a long period of time, and I'm not going to say long because it depends on the situation, it depends on the concern, but you assess. If you feel like it's been a struggle to navigate a certain issue in your life, do not hesitate to seek help professionally. I mean, therapy is not just for people that are mentally ill. That is a biggest misconception. Therapy is for people that are experiencing adjustment issues in their life as well. It could be stepping into a new family. It could be being adopted. It could be the ending of a relationship. It can be exam stress. It could be anything that you are experiencing as a difficulty. Don't be hesitant to get help. And it's okay. Mental health is okay. Mental health is important, and seeking professional help is important as well if you need it. So, yeah.
It was very beautiful, Miss Kalpana. I think the things that touched me was like thoughts are not thoughts, like they are just thoughts. Feelings are not permanent. Experiences can be neurological, right? You need to distance yourself from your emotions. There needs to be certain distance, like you plus your thoughts, not you equals to your thoughts, right?
Mhm.
And the way you have given the techniques, like the breath work, the journaling, like specifically the WhatsApp one. So then meditating and
Mhm.
exercise, right? And at the end, you also said, like, get help. It's not just, for mentally ill people. That's the conception. You need to get help, even if it's an adjustment issue, even if it's,
Yeah.
minor, like you're just facing some discomfort within your family or within, your partner or anybody around you. So just seek help. That stigma is, you need to get out of the stigma and get some help.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it was a very thought-provoking session, Miss Kalpana.
Thank you. Yeah. Especially for it being Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes.
I'm really proud of where we're coming because now mental health is much more prevalent, especially after the pandemic.
Mm.
But it's just like you breaking a bone. Our mind has its own responses, and even something I didn't touch upon, which I want to end on, was the importance of our nutrition and our mental health. Because if our brain has the neurotransmitters that are in our brain, some of them are in our gut as well. And I'm going to be a little technical about this, but specifically dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine in our gut. And if you're eating foods that affect the production of these hormones in your brain, that is just how our brain is connected. You can imagine the implications that it has on your mental health. So, if mental health didn't matter, why do we have sections in our brain that are meant for emotions? Why do we have parts in our brain that are meant for executive functioning, like doing things with our hands? Why do we have centers in our brain that's responsible for pleasure, for happiness? Oxytocin is a neurotransmitter or hormone that increases bonding with other people. So, if mental health did not matter, why would our brain even have these centers in our brain? I mean, in our mind, you know? So, why would relationships matter if mental health didn't matter? So, all of these questions are really worth asking. And if you did break your elbow or break a rib, you would go to the doctor in a second, right? And I'm not saying every issue needs a psychiatrist in mental health wise, but I'm saying that it matters. Just because it's not invisible doesn't mean it doesn't matter. So, yeah, that's, yeah.
I
Thank
think
you so
it
much for
was,
this opportunity.
yeah, it was very beautifully put that mental health matters. We have
Yeah.
neurotransmitters, we have serotonin, dopamine. There is a reason we have that. So I think that why thing needs to be think with, like, it should be thought
Yeah.
by everybody, whoever is
Yeah.
watching, that why it is there. It's there because
Yeah.
it matters, right?
Yeah.
So I think we are at the end of our session, and I want to leave everyone with a simple but a powerful reminder that you don't need to be fully healed to be growing, because growth becomes possible the moment you stop hiding your pain from yourself.
Yeah, very true. I love that.
So I think, yeah, we can end this. Namaste, everyone. Thank you all for
Thank
joining for
you.
this beautiful session with Miss Kalpana Sai. Take care.